For today's project, we'll be working on Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, and in order to do so, we need a base figure. The base figure I found was on Amazon for maybe 20 bucks, and it came with a lot of parts that I can take off, put on, and use for future edits. There are a lot of joint pieces on this figure, which is really great for future edits or for stop motion videos. To begin this project, I took the figure with its hands spread out so I can use it for pattern making. I did rough sketches of the head, the shirt area, the pants, stuff like that. I also made some in-depth sketches, if you will, of the head, the plasma cutter, and the gloves. Later on in the video, I decided not to go with making the plasma cutter nor gloves. Now it was on to the choices of fabric. I found the dark browns that I had, fake leather, cotton, I just piled it all on there. I used both sides of this fake leather for in-depth pieces, along with his black stretchy fabric to use for his pants and his shirt. Now for all pattern making, especially with darker pieces of fabric, it's a good idea to lay down your pattern and then use some pins to pull it down. And using chalk, like really bright chalk, helps really well with dark pieces of fabric. I did this for his pants and shirt. When his pants were done, I took some tape and a Sharpie and started to make a pattern for those leather side pieces. Now here are the leather side pieces. Look how tiny they are. I super glued my fingers too many times while doing this project, but it was worth it. But the side pieces turned out pretty good. After all the small pieces were put together, I started to work on his boots. I did a rough outline with some tape and then traced it onto some paper. Now, these boots, I didn't like how they turned out, so I made a more in-depth pattern piece by looking at photos for hours on end, and traced those onto foam. Now it was onto the belt. I used some thicker foam pieces along with a little slice of leather. Using this gold foam I put together, I traced out these tiny pieces that go onto his chest armor. They look like tiny pieces of macaroni. Continuing, I made his shoulder pads, along with a couple of other pieces that belong on his chest piece, and some armlets. For the blue parts on his armor, I took this plastic piece and made some teal paint. In this video here, I'm making a pattern to see if it'll fit well and would look okay when mixing all the teal. I then sketched a part for his shoulder on his right side. I used some metallic gold to make those pieces, and I also made some more small pieces of macaroni that I needed to add onto his chest. Here I created his Under Armour piece, which I will attach a lot of leather and other parts. Here I quickly put together his back part along with his arm pieces. These are just really small pieces of leather and foam that I cut out and painted. Now I was on to making those fake gloves. I took his hands that he was given, painted them all black so that'd be much easier for me to use when he's handling things. Now the longest part of this project was making his helmet. It took me a while to understand that he has a very tiny head. So I took a foam piece and made a dome using a heat gun, and then made all the extra pieces that I'm pointing out here. Something to keep in mind is when you're making small figures, too many details can make the figure look messy, so I try my best to figure out what pieces to keep and which ones not to keep. Now, it wouldn't be Dead Space if Isaac was clean and tidy looking, so we're making blood right now. To complete this, I used Mod Podge, red and black paint, a hint of pink and green. Using a paperclip, I spread the fake blood all over his armor. After this dried, I went back and used some bronze paint to put all over his armor to make it look old and used.